Greetings from the microwave. I just got some really disappointing news, and I could have figured this out earlier, but I didn't look ahead at my schedule for the delivery that I'm going to be making on this load, and I'm kind of glad I didn't, because if I had, I would have just spent more of today being upset. I was super stoked about going to see this podcast with my best friend, which I'm still going to make it to that, but then when I looked closer at the delivery time for this load that I have, I saw that it was at 10:30 p.m. and I was like, wait a minute, that can't be right. Because I was under the impression, I actually messaged my dispatcher, who I still really like a lot. I'm not trying to, oh, I love this, the reefers and start stop, by the way. I guess that's pretty typical for these. It's another ice cream load. Yeah, I don't I'm trying not to be like upset with my dispatcher, because she's not the person who is doing all the planning. She's one of the people that does planning, but she has a lot on her plate, and I don't think that it's her fault at all that, you know, things go awry or whatever. But I had called her this morning, or texted her this morning, when I saw like how far away I'm going from where I need to be, and realizing like it is going to be cutting it close. I'm like, okay, I had asked for the show's on a Friday night. It's on the near south side of Chicago. My parking is an hour north of Chicago. Traffic going from north to south in Chicago right now is very difficult because they're doing all this construction on 90 going into the city. So I had already planned, let me get back on Thursday, plan on that so that I won't have any issue going to see the show Friday night. I still can make it to the show, but I had made plans with my best friend. It's been planned for weeks, that let's spend some of the day together, you know, on Friday. Well, I just saw that my delivery time is at 10:30 p.m. tomorrow, and I was like, wait a minute, that's really late. And then it dawned on me, this is another Capstone Logistics unload, I bet. So I called the company, and sure enough, I said, when's the earliest I can deliver? And they said 9 p.m. tomorrow. And I was like, is this a Capstone Logistics unload? And she said yes. And I was like, okay, so that means I'm gonna be up all night again. Like, I'll sort of sleep, but you can't really sleep because you're waiting for them to call or text you, and the unload is really bumpy and crazy. At least now, thanks to some of the people who watch my channel, I got some good pointers, like lowering the landing gear and dumping the airbags, that will help to maybe make it so I can sleep a little bit better when they're doing the unload. But it's just such a disruption, and I had asked today, will I be back at my parking tomorrow? And she said, yep, I got it covered. And it's like, no, I definitely won't, because I'll be near my parking so I can get there Friday morning, but I'm gonna be so tired and have disrupted sleep that this day that I had planned to spend with my best friend and go see this show, it's just gonna all be out of whack. Basically what this speaks to, I'm trying not to cry because I'm really pissed right now. I'm really angry, but I'm trying to just swallow it, because this is what trucking is, man. This is what I signed up for, and that's what I want to impart to anybody watching who's new, who's thinking about going into trucking. One thing that you should know, and this is not me being dramatic, this is the reality. See, and partly why I make these videos is it is cathartic to talk it through and like hear myself talking it through. When you opt in to trucking, you're opting out of free time in a total way, because yes, technically you have downtime, but the time doesn't really belong to you, because when you're on the road, your reset time, your 10-hour reset, I'm hostage in a truck stop. I can't really have a life here. I'm on I'm next to a freeway or a highway and a bunch of other truck stops in a filthy environment that there's no way to do much of anything other than be in your truck. I will say though, one positive, see, I really try to find the positives. I'm parked in a back corner of this truck stop. I just got lucky that this spot happened to be open. I got one of the last few spots in the lot, so I'm feeling grateful. And there's a cleanish looking grassy area that's in this back corner, so I thought, okay, well, I can do some yoga tomorrow morning. That'll be nice. I'm gonna try to make the most of it. I'm gonna try to find the positives where I can. But I'm trying hard to manage my emotional state right now, because I'm feeling like this welling up of anger. But it's like, when you opt in, into this life, you opt out of having the freedom to plan things. And like, I had planned this and I knew that there was a possibility it could get messed up, and that's why I said, let me set my day to get back the day before the show, so I know at least I'll make the show for sure. I had specifically asked, can you get me back to my parking the day before? And then I asked again to confirm that it was set, and it was supposedly set, and now I see that it isn't. I just sent her a few messages. I feel bad messaging her because I think it's after, like, shortly after she's done for the day. And then she also told me that they had like bad storms where she is, and she's been like chainsawing tree limbs all day that came down and stuff. So I feel bad pestering her, but I've been asking about this, and these are the things that make you say to yourself, should I be doing trucking? Can I tolerate this? Am I willing to tolerate not being able to make plans? Because the plans will get disrupted. And the reason why is because you're hundreds of miles away from the place where you made the plans, and you are beholden to the decision making of a company that doesn't really care about your plans and doesn't have anything to do with it. They're just doing what they need to do to make sure they cover what they need, you know. One thing I'll tell you that keeps sort of bouncing around in my head is the company I work for is pretty small, and I pulled into the lot the last time I was there at that terminal, and I saw the guy who I'm pretty sure is the owner of the company, and he did like a triple take looking at me pulling into this spot that was a totally legitimate parking spot. Pulled in there and he kept looking at me, and he just had this scowl on his face. And it made me think about how another time he has this office in the back of the whole bigger office, and someone was like, oh, I want you to, make sure we'll introduce you to him and blah, blah, blah. And I know he saw me and knew that I was new because I kind of stand out in there, And he didn't ever say hi or introduce himself. And I just want to say, I'm sure other people think about this too and agree with me. I think that's shitty. And I don't know if maybe he has certain leanings, and when he looks at someone like me, he doesn't know how to approach me. And I think that's my own, that's like the lower self talking. The higher self says, no, this is a guy who owns a small trucking company in a very complicated time to own a small company. And he probably has a scowl on his face because his ass is stressed out and it's got nothing to do with me. That's the more likely scenario. What I'm saying right now, this whole thing is the product of years of therapy. Years of therapy and honest self-reflection and recovery. It's being able to look at a situation where, sorry, my neck and shoulders are so tight. I need a massage so bad. I just am like this all the time. It's being able to look at a situation, step outside of yourself, and think about what other people are going through and recognize it's not about you. It's never about you. Sometimes it is, but most of the time it's not. There, I feel better. Thanks for being my internet sounding board. one of my favorite influencers, I hate that term and I think she hates it too, but she used to do all this makeup stuff, and then she had a kid and started doing other things, but her YouTube is Raw Beauty Christy. She's this really cool, down-to-earth chick, and she said something about having had a conversation with her therapist about not using her channel for therapy or something like that, or not like crowdsourcing like emotional support. I think that's interesting because I don't want to be doing that, but I probably am doing that sometimes inadvertently. Anyway, thank you for being my pool of therapists, my fellow trucker therapists. We all help each other. This life is crazy. It's not about me. It's not about you. It's about us. I just had to end on a cheesy note. All right. Catch you guys later. walking down my street and there's the beach is straight that way, and there's a cool breeze that just comes straight down, and it's so awesome. And the lake, the smell of the lake and the beach is very, very reminiscent of the ocean. And I don't know why that is. I always think that's interesting because I always associate the ocean smell with salt, you know, the salt in the air. And I know that is distinctive, but there's something awesome about that smell. And even my towels, when I dry off and then I take my towels out in my car, like, you know, 2 weeks later, I smell them and I can smell the beach. And it's just like, it is absolutely my happy place. And this is my happy ritual. I'm going down to the Starbucks and I just enjoy the walk and enjoy seeing my friends there. And I enjoy the coffee, of course, which I'm very much looking forward to today. So I just wanted to share it. It's just a beautiful, beautiful morning in Chicago, and I'm just so grateful to be here right now. Good morning, good morning. I'm singing because my truck is clean. I just got a fresh wash at the Blue Beacon and I love that. But I wish I could reach the windshield to wipe off the water. I did like wipe down the windows and unfortunately they're still kind of streaky. I need a squeegee. I keep meaning to get one and I keep forgetting, but I'm gonna get one soon. I just want to say thank you to my lovely viewer Mark, who's in England, who sent me tea, who sent me lemon tea and other tea. And I'm just like, what an amazing thing to send something all the way from England to my P.O. box in Chicago. It was so touching. Thank you. Thank you so much for doing that, Mark. I'm looking forward to trying those teas. I haven't yet, but I will very soon. The lemon tea sounds soothing. So today's a really easy day. It's a Sunday and I am headed back to my home terminal. I just am deadheading today, so it's ain't no thing. It's not even an 8-hour drive, so that's why I took the time to get the truck washed, because I'm not in any rush, and my dispatcher already told me that I'm just going to be bobtailing to my first pickup tomorrow. So easy day. I kind of don't mind it. I'm resisting the urge to like talk about how the physical toll of trucking has been really like heavy on my mind lately. I have been struggling for years with what is basically carpal tunnel. It isn't officially diagnosed, but I have very distinctive carpal tunnel symptoms in my left hand, which is interesting. My mom actually just had carpal tunnel surgery in her left hand, but that was related to, she had a broken wrist a while back, which you guys, I talked about a little bit. I think she's doing amazingly well, in large part, I think, thanks to her having quit smoking. She's healed so quickly and made a great recovery and is getting all the feeling back in her hand because she had a real problem with numbness. And like my mom has always done work with her hands and has worked her hands very hard, and that's a big reason why she's had carpal tunnel symptoms. And same with me. I mean, lots of years of heavy weight lifting, having been a trainer, on top of like a lot of repetitive motion stress, doing the job of a trainer, and then being a furniture delivery driver. The driving is actually just as hard on my hands as the lifting. And with driving a truck, it's much more so, especially I think if you're a smaller built person with small hands and not as much grip strength. You wouldn't think about it, but it does take a lot of grip strength to, or endurance really is more accurate, to drive a truck, because the truck, especially in certain conditions, wind, bad roads, all that kind of stuff, it's jostling around a lot. I like that word. That's going to be my overused word of the week. You sometimes if you look over and see another driver, you'll see how much we're moving our hands, and then you're having to grip the wheel. And I am all day long stretching my hands on the steering wheel. I'm doing that, trying to crack my fingers, you know. And then I get massages, which I got one yesterday, and it's at a really awesome Chinese massage place in Chicago. And I asked them to spend extra time on the hands and feet and legs because of the circulation in the legs, and then the hands and forearms are just toast from driving. So when I try to paddleboard, which I did yesterday and the day before, I get so much numbness in my left hand that it's really hard to enjoy. It's like pins and needles, especially in the thumb. It helps a lot to get chiropractic care because it originates here and goes through the shoulder. Whenever I've had work an adjustment on my neck and shoulder, it helps a lot, but it's very short term. Anyway, I'm not trying to rant about that. I was going to say how grateful I am that I got to get in the water this weekend. It was awesome. It was a good workout. It was beautiful. I love the smell of the air out there. It just is so nice. I just feel so lucky that I got to do that, and more determined to eventually get a trucking job that's more local and get another apartment very close to the lake so I can spend more time there, because life is short and there's opportunity cost, and the time cost of the time I'm not spending in my favorite place is something that you have to weigh against the other things. So basically, once I get to a certain set of financial goals, which hopefully won't be too far off if I don't stop blowing money on skincare and stuff, then I will be able to make that happen. So off we go. I'm gonna head out on the road, and it's a mellow Sunday morning, and I'm feeling good, and my truck is clean. Good evening. My attempt at making a my traditional or typical microwave video is being thwarted, another great word, by the way, by however my truck is sitting. So I'm gonna hold the door open and talk to you for a minute. I'm about to eat some food that I just heated up. I am at my end of day. I can't believe how late it is, and I'm still having a hard time with how long the daylight is, because it makes me feel like, okay, there's still so much daytime left, but it's like, no, I have to go to sleep because I got to get up early. Next dispatch hasn't come through yet. All I know is that I'm bobtailing there in the morning, but I don't know anything else about where I'm going, and it's kind of nice to not know, because then there's nothing that you can maybe be like, you know, anticipating or worrying about or whatever. By the way, I haven't searched or looked for anything Lil Nas X related, but I mentioned him like for a second in my latest video, and now there's a Lil Nas X video in my YouTube feed. So it's crazy how these things listen to us, man. It's kind of disturbing. But I had a pretty decent day, although it was very the days when all you have to do is drive somewhere and you don't have any stops, any planned stops, they can feel longer. So it felt kind of long, even though it was a short driving day. It was only like 350 miles or something like that. I did make a point of stopping for my 30 at a rest area and doing yoga. And I did one of my favorite sequences that I actually have saved in my favorites by Yoga with Adrienne. And I realized, you know what? I'm going to make this into a standalone video, just showing this sequence and then sharing a link to it, talking about it a little bit, because it's perfect. And I definitely want to encourage more truck drivers to at least attempt to incorporate a little bit of yoga. It's very intimidating to a lot of people, and it's because there's been a lot of money made off of turning it into a wealthy white lady with expensive yoga pants activity, which is bullshit. But anyway, I digress. But no, I made a point of doing that. It did feel great. I also, at my terminal, there's this little treadmill, and I had avoided using it before because it's one of the cheaper treadmills that looked kind of flimsier, and I thought this is not going to be enjoyable to run on. But it was great. It was awesome. And I did like a little 20-minute run, and it felt so good to just get some exercise. And you know, since I've been complaining about not feeling well, I've been kind of saying to myself, I have to make more of a concerted effort to take actions to make myself feel even a little bit better. And there's only so much you can do to combat the way you feel from all those hours of sitting. My back hurts, my hips hurt. Those are things that will not change until I do something different with my work. And I am going to, and I'm already formulating my plan. But I'm just about to eat something. I'm going to chill for a little bit. I'm watching Yellow Jackets now, and this season is real disturbing. And I knew where it was going because it was already kind of foreshadowed, but there's cannibalism in it, and I don't enjoy that. I can listen to gross graphic stuff all day long, but seeing it, I'm one of those people that's like really timid about watching horror movies and stuff like that, because it gets in my head in ways that can give me weird dreams and disturbing thoughts that I don't want to have and stuff like that. So going on to like the nutrition thing I was going to say, or like feeling better. The other thing that I want to talk about more in other videos is like I've said, it's a little bit complicated for me to talk about food and nutrition because of just some things that have happened in my life, things I've been through. But I think too, like so much of my channel is about sharing this journey of trucking and like talking about relatable things. And I just can't say enough how when you do this type of work, it tweaks you in so many ways. And I think one of the things that I notice happening to me over time is it becomes very easy to justify eating and drinking things that you might not normally eat and drink because you're just trying so hard to maintain focus. It's so draining, and the average person has no concept of that, because when you have a desk job and you're kind of tethered to a desk, that's really hard in another way, but it's not the same at all as like having to have your attention focused because you're driving a vehicle that could kill a lot of people if you're not focused. You know, it's a completely different animal, and it becomes really easy to, especially like drinks that, you know, might have caffeine and or sugar in them, or I've have a habit of having candy in my truck, and it's like chocolate mostly, but just justifying, okay, I stopped every 2 hours or so and I'm grabbing a piece of candy or whatever. And it's like, it's not crazy, it's not extreme, but it just is like this trickle effect that will affect your weight and your how you feel, your energy, because you're doing the yo-yo thing with sugar. And it's tricky because, you know, I said in one of my recent videos that I don't want advice about nutrition and stuff. So when I talk about it, it's weird because it puts the viewer in a weird position where they want to give feedback, and I don't want to tell people not to give feedback either. So it's tricky, but anywho. Okay, I'm really hungry. I'm gonna eat now, but it was a pretty good, straightforward day. I'm eager to see where I'm gonna end up this week, and I just can't sing the praises of my dispatcher enough. We've gotten to be like really friendly, and it's a cool relationship. I respect her a lot because she has such a full plate and she manages a lot. She's 10 years younger than me. I'm like, I could never have done what she does at her age, and she's also like got a teenage daughter, and she's a kick-ass lady, and I have a lot of respect for her. But also I just appreciate her because she has gone above and beyond more than once now to help me get the home time, get there when I need to get there. She actually, so I'll just say this, I did make it to my podcast show with my best friend. We had a great time. It was a much needed night out. It was really nice to just get out, do something different, dress up a little bit, you know. We were kind of overdressed, but that was like whatever, we didn't care. It was fun. And that almost wasn't going to happen, which I talk about in another clip. I did all this belly aching, and I messaged my dispatcher, and she fixed it like immediately. She got the load relayed so quick. I don't know how that couldn't have been that easy, and it's like giving another driver a load to Capstone Logistics that no one really wants. So that guy left me with a trailer that had almost no reefer fuel. So I felt like, okay, that's my karma for this poor guy being, assuming it's a guy, this poor guy being subjected to this Capstone Logistics load. So that's fair. But she made sure that happened for me, and I'm so grateful because not a lot of dispatchers will go above and beyond. They'll be like, well, sorry, it is what it is, you know? So that tells you a lot right there. Okay, time to eat now. I'll talk to you guys later.